where you want it, as opposed to these guys that they can slide over some of that side shot. I think a little bit easier for sure.
Hey, I'm amazed at how good the form is for some of these folks who are coming in just right now. But maybe not right at the finish line where they're feeling, but like some of these folks are staying coming on their approach. It's incredible how well they're holding together.
Hey, they know the camera's right there. You got to
That's a
make
good
your
point.
last 50 yards look good.
Rob, my
That's
personal
your
rule is to save about 5 or 6% for the last 100 yards when or wherever there are spectators. I will give up on a potentially winning move where no one's watching, just in order to make sure I got enough in the tank for the closing shots.
That's right. Something we haven't talked about a lot, and it is coming up. There's some more. Here's our juniors. Look at all those Greek racers, just absolutely coming out strong, making it look really great.
I want to believe that those are the years they graduated high school, but I know that's not the case. Yes, so these are 15 to 18-year-olds. If I'm doing math in the middle of the night on the West Coast live,
That's right.
I probably shouldn't do that. Rob, don't let me do that again.
Fair enough. Adam, we haven't talked about it because it's coming up here in a little bit, and unfortunately we will not be on that race. But the women are coming up here in just a little bit. In roughly an hour, we will be seeing the women. I think it's fun to maybe even make some predictions for them. It's a stacked group. It's such a great race with some phenomenal female paddlers from around the world. You have Natalia, you have Kyriaki, Katniss Paris, you have Marie Carmen, Sileg, who just turned 18, who's now up there with the women. You have Suzak Molinaro, Caitlin McElroy from the States. You're looking at our 40-plus men as well, just to get sidetracked here. Also, you can see these guys. This is our division a little bit.
Rob, I lost you for a beat there, but I'm back.
Yeah, just going through. We're looking at the men 40 plus.
Yep. Very respectable times. I mean, 13 and a half K is not a short, and a really very fast time for a 10K for folks who are watching and wondering that would be incredibly impressive. And so, you start adding on, and of course it begins to ramp up a little bit as you add distance, the fatigue level. So these times that these folks are finishing in is really admirable, especially in those conditions we saw. These people are navigating those headlands where the water is reverberating off, and it is way trickier, as you indicated earlier, Rob. Way trickier water to paddle through. Exhausting, frankly, those conditions. And some of these folks are just, frankly, making it look relatively easy. Few of them we see coming across the line and reacting the way I would expect I would probably, which is borderline collapse.
Adam, what do you think about the women that are coming up here in a little bit? Any thoughts on the women? I was just going through some names. I think that's maybe where I lost you, but I would say, our within the top 10, you've got to be finding Marie Carmen, Kyriaki, Nancy, Katniss Paris, Sileg, new on the scene, Suzak Molinaro, and there's definitely some Greek paddlers as well that could make their way into those top 3 to top 10.
Yeah, I think if I had to if I had to handicap the race, I think I would probably be looking at Marie Carmen coming in first. She is just so good, and has been so consistent 3-4 years now. I think that Sillig is intriguing. She reminds me actually a little bit of Donato in some ways, just a really powerful paddler. The conditions are not very rough today. I think she comes from a canoe background, so that's favorable for her. She's not, used to the ocean conditions as much, I don't believe. So that's a pretty good sign for her. And then Suzak Molinaro, who I think is just incredible experience. And I believe she's Paulo Marconi's partner. Sorry if I'm wrong. But experience on the world tour. I would look for those three out in front. You're right. Katniss is a strong paddler. Really focuses on sprint though. Calm water like it is today. She's got a pretty good shot, but it's a great lineup. I think it's going to be some great racing. Natalia Novoskaya might jump up there too. It's hard to handicap it, but I'd put a lot of faith in Marie Carmen making the podium.
Of an interesting note, Alba Frey, who won the long distance last year, is racing in Spain currently. She's not on the start list, which opens the door up a little differently as well compared to last year.
I'd be really interested to see if she was towing the line with Marie Carmen, how that would shape up. But again, we haven't seen Sillig in at least in Sarasota, have we?
Yeah, in Sarasota, if I'm correct, I'm pretty sure she took the podium in the juniors division.
Yep.
In almost all of the races.
Yeah. She's 18, and I think just kind of hitting her stride here. I would be worried about her were one of these other competitors towing the line.
Yeah.
She's got great paddle skills, just an incredible motor, and it's just gaining experience. There's nothing not to like. That said, a 13.5K race is a long way to go. And when you think about that, that's when I think about, Suzak Molinaro, one of the older racers in this category. But experience does matter. That said, we just watched two 19-year-old men win 1 and 2. So.
Experience in their own way. Then again, both of them started paddling years ago, even being 19 currently.
Yeah. It was actually, as I go back and look, 1, 2, 3. Tassos is actually quite young, 24. So, youth movement up front today. Oh, and Donato's 20. Update. Rob, what's your handicap of the race, the upcoming women's race?
I couldn't disagree with you at all. I think the women are going to be right up there in that same division. I think it'll be really fun to watch. Unfortunately, at some point in the United States, we have to sleep, so we'll probably be catching the replay of that.
Yeah.
But I'll be really excited to wake up and find out what happened. I would really love to see Sillig come out and put a lot of pressure on Marie Carmen and those individuals. And Katniss, if you remember last year, I believe it was Katniss and Nancy right at the end.
No, Penny. You're thinking Penny Sautu.
Yeah, Penny, who
wasn't it?
Katniss ended up taking third in this long distance race last year. And remember, they got jammed up right at the pier. So I think that was, Katniss probably got a little experience really understanding this course better. I wouldn't doubt in an hour from now, maybe a little bit of afternoon wind picks up, so they may have the gnarlier of conditions from what the
Yeah.
men just experienced. So that's probably going to play a little bit of a role in their strategy and probably their overall time, because they're going to be dealing with a little more, chop throughout the day, and quite honestly, just in general, probably more boat traffic, as we know. Throughout the day, more individuals are out and about. So I think that'll play a little bit of a role. But I would love to see these young up and comers put some pressure on everybody, and maybe see some back and forth juggling. I think that would be really cool to see, and it's going to be a great race to watch. So if you are still listening to us jabber, we're grateful that you are, and hopefully in an hour you come back and watch the women, because they're going to come out here and put on a spectacle as well.
Yeah, and if you are listening to us jabber, you're recognizing that we're losing efficacy pretty quickly. Interesting note. Penny Sautu is an absolute force in paddling in the Masters division. She's a 50 plus paddler who, frankly, when she shows up for ICF events, just tends to destroy her age group competition, and then battles with powerhouses like Katniss, and so kind of fun to watch. She's like always like a nice little crowd pleaser. I think she's Penny 54, and last year at 53 presumably, she was neck and neck with Katniss Paris, who's a very good athlete, and I would encourage folks to go back and watch that replay. It was one of the more, I'll say, intriguing finishing sequences we've seen.
I think we were all a little nervous watching that one, and not even sure what happened for a minute after Katniss pretty much bumped a pier, and then Penny went down.
Yeah, it was. Well, and you'll recall too that in the finish last year, as Alba was coming in, two of the age groupers had collided somehow. We cut to a shot of that finishing structure that we saw, the inflatable finishing structure, and these guys were tangled up, trying to swim for the finish, able to, because they were so pinned behind the buoy. Alba sort of casually sauntered by them, wondering sort of foolishness they were up to. But that final, it's not to be underestimated. And by the way, we're watching. There's that wind you were talking about, filling the sails of those little opties. That final bit where you're rounding the headlands, and really it's the final 3K. There's just a lot of stuff going on right up until you come in to that finish there. And famously, a few years ago, I think there was a real tight race where it might have been one of the Hosoya brothers in Boothie, and Boothie missed a stroke. This is this shot we're looking at right now, where there can be a lot of excitement. And it doesn't have to be just the top paddlers. We've been entertained by people whose names we do not know doing fun stuff there, even today.
Yeah, I believe the incident you were talking about with those juniors last year definitely resulted in some interesting words after, as their boards were tangled up on the outside and they were trying to make it through.
Yep. Rob, these folks look too good. There's no way they're not following the Adam Tischler rule of leave a little sip for the end.
They rested a little bit, a half mile out, so they could sprint at the finish.
Yeah, that big bay crossing they have to do, just sort of stored it up, took a sip of water, etc. Little self-talk, come around that pier and just hammer with perfect form.
Wipe the sweat off, little salt water on the forehead.
Yep.
Well, I'm not sure where we're at, but I think we have at least a lot of our male athletes have finished through the gate here, and we're going to continue to watch some of these guys trickle in on video. I'm fairly certain at this point we are going to be signing off from the USA. We are super grateful that you were out here watching with us today, and hopefully you enjoyed that race and watching these male athletes just absolutely crush it. We apologize for some of our technical difficulties earlier on. We, as always, with getting cameras over the water over 13K is never an easy feat. So kudos to the team out there, and also to Jim and Kostas and Mahalis and Stavros and the entire production crew putting this on today. They are going to continue on and bring you the women's race here in less than probably 50 minutes. Adam,
the pleasure is ours,
yeah,
guys.
I just want to echo my thanks to the crew there in Greece. It is such a technical feat to pull these off, and that's just the technical part of bringing the broadcast to you. This is one of the great races in our sport of SUP. It's an honor just to be involved with it in any way, and it just truly would encourage folks to tune in next year as well. Sign up, take part. I know it's a bucket list item for me, but Rob, just want to echo your thanks and great job to every single competitor we saw out there today. Congratulations on being able to take part in such an epic event, really.
You guys,
absolutely
thanks.
Agreed. We'll line up the private jet here for next year, and guys, maybe you'll see it. You'll see us on site, live and in person. Okay, well, that's it for me. This is Rob Sano with the Goat Boater, and I am officially signing off. We hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys, for the support. Thanks for sharing the knowledge. And next year, hope to see you here with us in beautiful Creta and beautiful Agios Nikolaos.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Kostas.
Γιώργος Νικολακόπουλος.
Σε όλη τη διάρκεια του live stream, κυρίες και κύριοι, είχαμε κοντά μας τον Rob και τον Adam από τις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες, δύο τους πιο γνωστούς σχολιαστές, πρώην αθλητές SUP. Μας βοήθησαν με τις πληροφορίες και με τις τεχνικές τους γνώσεις για την καλύτερη κατανόηση και την περιγραφή του αγώνα.
Στράτος Κισαμιτάκης.
Εμείς βρισκόμαστε εδώ στην πανέμορφη λίμνη του Αγίου Νικολάου. Για την ακρίβεια λίγο πριν το γεφυράκι. Υποδεχόμαστε και τους τελευταίους αθλητές που τερματίζουν. Ένας φανταστικός αγώνας. Θυμίζουμε τους νικητές της κατηγορίας Open, Σουρεράκι από την Ιαπωνία, Donato Fringe στη δεύτερη θέση από την Ολλανδία και φυσικά ο πρωταθλητής μας Τάσος Τσουρίς, ο περσινός νικητής, στην τρίτη θέση για φέτος. Επόμενο αγώνισμα λοιπόν ήρθε η σειρά για τις γυναίκες, για τις κατηγορίες Open Women, Women 50 plus, Men 50 plus, Women 40 plus and the Junior Women 2007-2010. Η εκκίνηση του επόμενου αγώνα θα δοθεί φυσικά από την πλάκα στις 1 ακριβώς. The start of the next races at 1 o'clock from Plaka Port with a view of the historical monument of Spinalonga. Ενώ βλέπουμε να τερματίζουν ακόμα μερικοί αθλητές
Ίσως για Λαμάς.
και αξίζουν το χειροκρότημά μας και αυτοί.
Και ο Γιάννης ο Φρυσούλης, ακολουθεί και αυτός.
Αντώνιος Μαργαντίνης, Παρίτσης. Γεννημένος το 2006,